Hi, my name is Madison Gigstead, and I am here to teach you about internet and social media. I did have a PowerPoint presentation available, but I couldn't get it to open up on my other laptop, and I was going to hold it here and show you guys, and it just wasn't working. So I'm going to still upload that to Blackboard, and you guys will be able to go see it yourself and kind of review my main points because that's what it pretty much did. Or else I will also be uploading my outline as well. So that will still be available if you want to take a peek. So we'll start with the invention of computers. The first type of computer was the arithmetic, and it was invented by a German mathematician. It explored two possible value systems, and that type of modern computer is still used today. Herman Hollerith developed another machine in the 1880s, and it was a bit more advanced, and it became so successful that he was able to create his own company called IBM, which stood for International Business Machines. Then in 1940, Howard Aiken developed the first computer using the binary system. And only a few years later did the University of Pennsylvania create the first electronic computer called the ENIAC, or the ENIAC. And it was a big deal at the time because it was extremely large, and it was almost over 2 tons, but it was still, an electronic computer. By the early 1980s, 1990s, they were able to converse with each other, the computers were, and they were able to link together. Computers were becoming smaller, and their laptops were invented, and they were also being introduced with wireless modems. Dial-up soon came after, and that transitioned into wireless internet, and that was readily available in many places. By the 21st century, computers were much more portable. They were being used for a multitude of things, like getting emails and staying in touch with friends. Wireless internet was common, as well as portable computers like the tablet and the iPad. So that was a little catch up on the invention of computers. Now we'll move on to the internet. What is the internet? The internet is a global network of interconnected computers that communicate freely with one another, and they exchange information. The Pentagon created the first type of internet called the ARPANET. It was used for the Department of Defense. They didn't think their computer network was secure enough, so they didn't want it becoming under nuclear attack. So the ARPANET was an interconnected web of computer networks designed so that every computer could talk to every other computer. This was used probably by scientists and computer experts. It continued to grow through companies and develop software that enabled it to talk to local area networks. The National Science Foundation built a system and hooked it together, and it grew with companies, and then it was a supercomputer that was eventually dubbed the net, or the internet. The internet was far more accessible. It had much more information at people's disposal. It was used for communication and research by many doctors, journalists, and lawyers. It was still only used by a small group of people, and soon there were very big developments that led to the internet's expansion. The first was the World Wide Web. It took advantage of hypertext and enabled anyone to create interconnected web documents used for a variety of things. And by 1998, it was estimated there were more than 1 million individual websites. Browsers were the second big development to really hit the internet. Browsers that were user-friendly navigation tools, and they could retrieve data on what you were searching, and it simplified navigating. The most common are Internet Explorer, Firefox, and Safari. The third and final major development in the internet was the search engine, and it scans the internet for certain terms the user wishes to search for. It makes it much more simple when you're doing research, and some of the top ones are mostly Google, and then there's also Yahoo, but there are plenty of search engine options out there. There are many uses for the internet. Some of the main uses were for email. And then the World Wide Web also has a whole bunch of things called apps or applications that lead you to anything from news to social media sites to, Hotmail, anything. Through these, people are used to stay connected with others. They search for information and they entertain themselves. Games are another huge app. Some of the sites typically used were either for education, government, e-commerce, personal, news, information, entertainment, and social networking and search engines. Many of these can be found within apps, but are more accessible and can be pulled up on the go. Blogging has been a big expansion of news on the internet, allowing anyone to discuss openly anything they want to talk about, and others will follow and respond to them. Some have been very successful and are ways of getting news talked about and has made a lot of people famous through starting blogs through college or just on their own. It has become a thing where anyone can respond from anything from weight loss to politics, and it gets their voices heard, and it has really expanded in the last few years. So, the evolving internet. The internet is ever changing and faster and more accessible. And with the ways internet are being introduced, such as broadband, which is a channel that broad information carrying capacity, which carries information but quicker than conventional dial-up modems. Broadband makes everything quicker, as well as makes it possible for video on demand, interactive television, and live streaming downloadable movies like Netflix or Hulu. About 70% of household users in the US use broadband, but that is nothing compared to South Korea, 93%. So we're not completely caught up with other countries, but we're well on our way. And then next is the wireless internet, or the Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity. It uses low power radio signals to connect devices to one another on the internet. More than 50 million people use their cell phones to connect to Wi-Fi and also use it with data. So 20 million use Wi-Fi from the internet from their mobile phones or like tablet computers. It is said the next step to technology will be the WiMAX, which will be wireless internet, but it will be for an entire metropolitan area, not just a home or a business. So it'll be a lot like Wi-Fi, but it'll stretch farther. So you could be on a bus that's no Wi-Fi access, but you'll be able to use WiMAX. And they have something like that now on planes. They have Wi-Fi for certain planes. So I think that's the start to what will maybe become WiMAX. Internet economics and new online mega companies. Talk of monetizing the internet to convert it into money is underway. This happens through websites charging for usage, much like ABC charging, making sure that you have an account through your television network before you can use their site, or charging you to use Hulu. Commercialization has increased on the internet and will continue to grow as advertisers continue to get millions to continue to pay millions to get their ads seen. And there's about 26 million in economic value for advertisers on the internet and 90 billion in retail sale value. Online advertising is the biggest form of advertising. It beats out newspaper, television, and there are about 1.2 million jobs created by the internet. And overall, the direct economic value totals up to about $185 billion. So it's quite a bit. The internet has been dominated by a few major companies, but all are in different areas, such as search engines, retail, and social media sites. All these sites make a significant amount of money from being content distributors. In order to be able to make some of these leading companies, a few creating something that's compelling and make people want to see it is by using good information, creating interesting content. Second is to sell merchandise on your site, and third is to sell advertising. Advertisers spend over $26 billion in 2010 in online exposure. The three main categories of online advertising are paid research ads, display ads, and classified ads. But you will see some sites using a combination of these things. The internet's audience. There are two main sources of feedback on the internet: ComScore and Nielsen Net Ratings. They use a panel of customers to create their data, and then this data is there so advertisers can decide where they want to put their banners or ads. There are over 2 billion people that utilize the internet worldwide, and over the years, the general population has become the main user, so it's no longer a dominant type of people that use the internet, it's everyone. A lot of this is due to there's something for everyone. There's a little bit of everything that anyone can enjoy, like social media. Social media sites are places where anyone can go, create a profile, and interact with others while sharing their feelings, pictures, or information. Some of the most famous sites are Facebook and Twitter. However, MySpace is one of the forerunners, is not nearly completely out of the picture as much people think it is. Facebook has over 600 million viewers, and Twitter has about 200 million. Social media usages of all ages, and most users are women, even though there are still just quite a few men as well. The average smartphone user spends about 20% of their phone usage on social media sites. Some effects of social media have been pretty extreme. Traditional media is incorporating social media with theirs to try and draw and hold audience, like sharing stories from online newspapers on Facebook, or you share a link on Twitter. And some of the effects have been extreme because it's getting out there. The news is traveling quicker. Many movies or people that aspire to become famous use social media to become heard or known. Tons of famous people have social media, Twitter, Facebook, fan pages, because it gets them out there. YouTube and video sharing help make social media sites a form of entertainment. With its accessibility, over 120 billion videos. 75% of those videos come from amateurs. So we, the consumers, are helping make social media entertainment because we are creating these videos that everyone is finding so entertaining. Social media has helped become a large part of gathering and sharing news. Like I said before, it helps news spread quicker. It gives such a faster response time and helps with relief efforts in big world events like earthquakes or bombings. Social media, however, is immensely commercialized. Many big brand names create fan pages and use advertisements to spread across these sites and to use as marketing devices. Dr. Pepper has a fan page, has a Twitter you can follow, and a lot of advertisers have that as well. Social media generates about $2 billion in advertisements, which is continuing to rise. This puts the value of social media at an all-time high. Social media can cause mobilization, and many efforts have been strewn across the world. Facebook is often used for protest, Twitter is coordination, and YouTube to get the word out. It can be used for political purposes, which do not always work, but they're always tried. Some social implications, there are quite a few. There are some negative impacts from cyberbullying, privacy issues, and an information overload and kind of a detachment from the world. Children commit suicide over hurtful comments on social media and over all kind of internet sites every day. Some news on blogs are extremely inaccurate, and so the internet is constantly needs to provide checks and balances to ensure more sites can be held accountable for all their stuff that they're giving out. Some news on blogs are also not always true, and that can be a big problem. And because of that, that's because there's a lack of gatekeepers. It makes it hard for censorship to be in place and evaluate information. This is good and bad because it can be inaccurate, but that also makes for controversial topics that might not have gotten heard before. And there's a ton of information out there that a lot of people don't know about, and a lot of news that doesn't get heard. And with social media, it's able to get out there and get talked about. There's little privacy on the internet, so it seems everything can be posted on the internet, no matter how safe you think it is, and it can be leaked. And I know a lot of people think that everything they put on the internet, no matter how private they try and keep it, they think it's private, and it's not always private. They're hackers and they're identity thieves, and they are very good at what they do. And so people need to be careful of what they put on the internet because nothing is private. That also, there's information overload. It can lead to many false stories and not enough credible sources, which leads to identity thieves. And then finally, the idea that social media and internet may be detaching people from the real world. People spend so much time on their phones and tablets, and it's being known as a new condition identified as internet addiction, which can lead to isolation and depression, but further studies have not been taken since social media's rise to fame, so it makes you wonder how much farther maybe it's gone. So there's obviously going to be a future of the internet. Nobody knows what it is, but there's some people that have ideas. There's the Evernet, which some imagine will be the successor of the internet. It will be smaller, microscopic computers that will continuously use the internet and help you to accomplish everyday tasks. To me, that's a little scary. I don't know if I want, a computer to help me take over my life. But it could be cool, and it could be, look how far we've come so far and how much computers have began taking over our lives. We've seen good with it so far, so I guess we'll have to see. Again, nobody knows. The idea and implication of the Evernet would be huge. Thinking of all it could do for everyday lives, business, healthcare, future. The list goes on. But like I said, the internet is ever changing, and as far as it's come, you can't rule out anything yet, but the career outlook is huge, and hopefully it can only get better. That was a brief tutorial kind of thing on the internet and social media. I hope you enjoyed, and I will upload the PowerPoint. Thank you.